You walked past your box fan this morning and you felt that cool air on your face and you thought it was clean. It isn't. That fan, the one humming in your bedroom right now, is quietly throwing the dirtiest air in your house straight at the people you love, hour after hour, while you sleep. Here is the truth I learned the hard way. A simple cotton sock, the kind already balled up in your dresser drawer, can turn that same fan into the cheapest air cleaner you will ever own, and it will pull poison out of your air that a $40 machine misses. I did not invent this. I watched it done in a plain household in Lancaster County by a woman who had never bought a filter in her life. Stay with me, because near the end I will show you the exact method tied to a household record from the 1880s, a way of trapping dust that almost disappeared. You already own everything you need, not $1 spent. I remember the moment it hit me. I was changing the bulb above my own bed, and I ran my finger along the top blade of the ceiling fan, and it came back black, greasy, thick as frosting. That fan had been blowing over that filth onto my pillow every single night for years. I had cleaned that whole room 100 times. I never once thought to look up. That is where this starts. Up high, where you never look, in the moving air you trust the most. Let me take you to that ceiling fan first, because yours looks just like mine did. Spotless from below, deadly on top. When a fan blade spins, the top edge becomes a magnet. The physics is simple and old. Moving air creates a low-pressure pocket on the leading edge, and dust, being light, gets pulled in and pressed down and held there by static, layer after layer. The blade builds a crust you cannot see from the floor. Then you flip the switch. The wobble of the spin breaks tiny pieces of that crust loose, and the fan does what a fan does best. It launches them right into the air column you breathe all night long. And this is not ordinary dust. In the 1990s, researchers studying household dust began finding something that shook them. A team connected to work later published through the Silent Spring Institute tested settled house dust and found it loaded with chemicals shed from fragranced products, from flame retardants in furniture, from the residue of every spray and every scented plug-in. House dust is not dirt from outside. It is the chemical memory of everything you have ever cleaned with ground fine and waiting. So your fan is not blowing dust. It is blowing the concentrated leftovers of years of scented sprays straight back into your lungs while you sleep 8 hours deep. Here is the fix, and it costs nothing. Take an old cotton pillowcase, slide it over one fan blade like a sleeve all the way to the base. Now pull it back toward you slowly. The fabric wipes the top and the bottom at the same time, and every speck of that greasy crust stays trapped inside the pillowcase instead of raining down on your bed. Do each blade the same way. Then shake the pillowcase outside, not over your floor. That is the ceiling solved. But the ceiling fan only runs sometimes. The box fan in your window runs for hours. And what it is doing is far worse, because it does not just move your air, it pulls the outside in. Therefore, it filters nothing and traps everything in a place you would never think to check. Walk to that box fan with me. The flat, square one, in the window, on the floor, humming all summer. Turn it off and look at the back grill. The side the air enters. Run your hand down those plastic bars. Felt that? That gray fur. That is months of airborne particles your fan caught and held, and now every breath of air it pushes into the room has to pass over that filthy surface first. You built a dust collector and pointed it at your own face. For years I thought a running fan meant fresh air. It means the opposite. A fan with no filter is just a faster way to circulate the same contaminated air over and over, stirring up what had finally settled. The stillness of an unfanned room is sometimes cleaner than the breeze. because at least the heavy particles stay on the floor where you are not breathing them. Now here's where the sock comes in, and where I first understood the genius of the plain way of thinking. They do not solve a problem by buying a tool. They solve it with what the home already holds. This is the simplest version, and you can do it in the next 60 seconds. You take a clean cotton tube sock, the long kind, and you stretch the opening over one corner of the box fan grill, the intake side, and work it across until a single thin layer of cotton covers the airflow. The fan pulls air through the sock. The cotton catches the dust before it ever reaches the blades. When the sock turns gray, you peel it off, toss it in the wash, and put it back. Free filter forever. But a single sock only covers a corner, and a window fan needs the whole face covered. Therefore, the Amish woman I watched did something smarter, and that is the method I promised you. Hold that thought, because before I show you the full version, you need to see why the air in your home got this bad in the first place, and who made sure you never questioned it. And if you want to go deeper than one video can take you, this is the moment to tell you about the resource I keep coming back to myself. Everything I have learned from years inside plain households, the room-by-room methods, the forgotten protocols, the written record of how a truly clean home is kept without a single bottle of anything, is gathered in the Plain Home Handbook. It is a complete field guide, the kind you keep on the shelf and reach for whenever a room stumps you, and right now you can find it linked in the description at eliamishcleaning.com for $97, which is less than 2 years of replacement filters for a machine that was never doing the full job anyway. If what you are hearing in this video is already changing how you see your home, the book will change how you run it, room by room, season by season, for the rest of your life. But right now, let us get back to the cabinet under your kitchen sink, because what is hiding in those bottles is the reason your air got this bad in the first place. Let me take you to the cabinet under your kitchen sink. Open it, look at the bottles, count the ones with a scent: lemon, lavender, fresh linen, spring rain. Every one of those is doing something you were never told. The fragrance in a cleaning product is not one ingredient. Under United States labeling rules, the single word fragrance can legally hide dozens, sometimes hundreds, of separate chemicals, and the company never has to list a single one. That secrecy was written into the rules back in the 1960s, sold to you as protecting trade recipes. What it really protected was the right to fill your air with things you would refuse if you could read them. Here is the part that made me angry. Many of those fragrance chemicals do not evaporate and vanish. They are heavy. They settle. They land on your floor, your shelf, the top of your fan blade, and they become part of that house dust the researchers tested. So the lemon spray you used 3 months ago is still in your home, ground into powder, riding the breeze from your fan into your chest. You were sold a scent and told it was clean. Clean has no smell. That fresh smell is the sign of chemicals still hanging in your air, still landing on every surface, still waiting for a fan to lift them again. The plain households I spent time around do not chase scent. They chase actual cleanliness, and their air is different the moment you walk in. Not perfumed, just still and somehow easier to breathe. I noticed it before I understood it. A home with no sprays, no plugins, no scented anything, and the air felt lighter than mine ever had. Now, therefore, the question becomes, how do they keep dust down without all of it? And the answer brings us back to the moving air and to a humbler room you have not thought about. Your bedroom dresser and the fan that sits near it, cotton, wool, natural cloth. In the old homes, these were not just clothing. They were the air filtration of the household. Natural fibers carry a faint static charge and a rough microscopic surface that grabs dust out of the air and holds it, which is exactly why your dark wool sweater shows every speck. That same property is a tool if you aim it right. Here is something you can do today. No purchase before this video even ends. Take a damp cotton cloth, not dripping, just damp, and lay it over the back grill of any running fan in your house. The moisture turns the cotton into a stronger magnet, dry dust bounces, damp cotton catches and keeps. Within an hour, you will see the gray bloom across that cloth, and that is dust now in the wash instead of in your lungs. I know what some of you are thinking right now, because I thought it too. You are thinking this is too fussy. You are thinking you already have a fan with a filter built in, or an air purifier humming in the corner, or a cabinet full of products that have served you just fine for 30 years, and a sock on a fan sounds like something from a harder, poorer time. I understand that completely. I trusted my machines too. So let me give you something you can prove to yourself tonight. With nothing but what is already in your home, and no faith required. Take that box fan, tape a single sheet of plain cotton, an old undershirt, a pillowcase, anything flat across the intake side, run the fan for one day in your busiest room, just one day. Then look at the cloth. The shadow of dust on that fabric is the exact dust that was going into your family yesterday and the day before, and every day you ran that fan bare. No lab, no expert, your own eyes on your own cloth. That gray stain is the argument. And it will convince you faster than I ever could. And here is the part that answers the doubt about your expensive machine. A replacement filter for a name brand purifier runs $30 to $60, and you are told to change it every 3 months. That is over $100 a year, every year, forever, to breathe. The cotton on your fan costs nothing, washes clean, and lasts for years. You are not buying clean air. You are renting it on a payment plan designed never to end. That dependence did not happen by accident. Somewhere along the way, the home stopped being a place you could keep with your own two hands and what you already owned, and became a place that required a shopping list to stay alive. Every problem got a product. Every product got a refill. And the knowledge that used to live in every grandmother's hands, the knowledge of how to keep a home clean with cloth and water and a little salt, got quietly replaced by a cabinet full of bottles you have to keep buying. The plain people simply never let go of that knowledge. That is their whole secret. Not a special trick. A refusal to forget. So now let me give you the full method. The one I promised at the start, the one I watched with my own eyes, and then traced all the way back into the written record. The woman in Lancaster did not just drape a sock. She built something. She took a clean cotton tube sock and she cut it open lengthwise so it became a flat rectangle of cloth. Then she stretched that cloth across the entire intake face of her fan and held the four corners with simple clothespins clipped to the grill. One flat layer of breathable cotton, edge to edge, held by pins covering the whole face. The fan pulled every bit of incoming air through that cotton sheet. Nothing reached the blades. Nothing reached the room until the cotton had its turn first. When it grayed, she unclipped it, dropped it in the wash water she was already using, wrung it, dried it on the line, and clipped it back. One piece of cloth. Used for years, catching the dust, the pollen, and yes, those settled fragrance particles before any of it could reach a single lung in that house. And here is where it stopped being a clever trick and became something older and bigger. I went looking because it felt too good to be new. In American home management writing from the 1880s, in the era of the household manuals that taught a generation how to run a home, there are instructions for stretching dampened cheesecloth and thin muslin across open windows and across the mouths of the early mechanical air movers, specifically to strain the dust and soot out of incoming air before it filled the room. The same principle exactly. A breathable natural fabric stretched across the path of moving air, made to do the filtering that no machine was needed for. That knowledge was written down over 140 years ago. It was common. It was ordinary. And then it was buried. Not because it stopped working, but because no one could sell you a sock you already owned. It survived in the homes that never chased the new thing. It survived in the plain communities who kept clipping cloth across their windows while the rest of the country forgot. And now it survives with you, because you stayed to the end of this. There is one refinement that makes it work even better, and it comes straight from that same old wisdom. Dampen the cloth lightly before you clip it on, just barely moist. The old manuals knew it, and the science confirms it. A slightly damp natural fiber catches far more fine particles than a dry one, because the moisture defeats the bounce and holds the smallest, most dangerous specks, the ones light enough to ride deep into your breath. Re-wet it when it dries, every day or so in summer. That single habit turns a piece of cotton into something that rivals filters costing a fortune. Let me tell you what changed in my own home after I started doing this. The morning stuffiness I had blamed on my age, and my pillow simply lifted. I stopped waking with that thick head. The fine gray film that used to return to my nightstand 2 days after every dusting took a week or more to come back, because the fan was no longer manufacturing it. And the cabinet under my sink got emptier, and my air got cleaner at the very same time, which is the opposite of everything I was ever told about keeping a clean home. You can start tonight. A cotton sock, a couple of clothespins, a little water, and the fan you already own. That is the whole list. Nothing to order, nothing to wait for. The cure was in your dresser drawer the entire time. You came here for a trick about a sock, and what you are really walking away with is your own air back, the breath in your own bedroom returned to you, no longer something you rent from a company that profits every time you gasp. You are not the kind of person who keeps poisoning your own home just because a label told you to. You never were. You just had not been handed the older, truer way until now, and now it is yours to keep and to pass on. So tell me something. Go run your finger along the top of your ceiling fan blade right now, tonight, and come back and tell me in the comments what color it came back. I want to read it, and tell me which room you are going to clip that cotton across first. The bedroom, the kitchen window, or the living room where everyone gathers. Write it down below. Say it out loud to me. If you are tired of being sold your own clean air, and you want to take back the lost art of keeping an honest, truly clean home with your own two hands, then come walk these rooms with me. There is a whole way of living that the plain people never let go of, and we are remembering it together, one forgotten method at a time. Next time, I am going to show you the one thing the Amish keep in a small bowl on the windowsill that pulls moisture and odor out of an entire room without a single drop of scent, and why they refuse to ever let it run dry. You will never look at your windowsill the same way again. Stay with me and bring your air back to life. Because that bowl on the sill holds a secret as old as the sock on your fan. And once you see how the two work together, your whole home will finally breathe the way it was always meant to. I will be right here waiting for you. Now that your fan is cleaner, let me show you something even better. With just a little shaving foam, you can make your whole home sparkle. That next video is starting right here, so stay with me.